Welcome to the Triathlon Nutrition Academy podcast, the secret weapon in your ears for triathletes who want to get fitter, faster, stronger, and healthier with evidence-based nutrition. Joining me on the podcast today is age group triathlete Laura Hoffman from Natick, Massachusetts. How did I go? Did I say that right?
Yeah, that was great.
Yay!
Thanks for having me today.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you because you have just had a stellar performance at 70.3 Western Massachusetts, and I would love to dive into that with you today. Did you go in to that race going, this is my goals? Like, what were you trying to achieve by doing that 70.3?
Yeah, so every 70.3, every race, I have a goal. Actually, I always go in with a goal, and then I go in with that like super top secret, don't tell anybody, but like in your heart, you wish you could do it goal. My goal that I knew I wanted to do for this race was 5 hours, 45 minutes. And my super top secret, like if everything went right, everything was perfect on race day, and by the way, it wasn't, I could do a goal, was 5 hours and 30 minutes. And so there is this epic picture of me crossing the finish line. There's also an epic video of me running down the chute where in my head, I'm running like Usain Bolt. I feel like I'm flying. And then I look at the video and I look like I'm slow jogging into the chute. And it was amazing. But when I looked up and I saw 5:30 on the board as I ran through, like just this smile across my face. And there's this like huge stride. My hands were in the air because never in my wildest dreams did I think I could do that. And then also given that it poured rain for over half of the race on a hilly, super sharp turning course, did I think it was even possible? Like halfway through, I gave up on the 5:30 time because I'm like, there's no way I can go on this bike as fast as I need to. Still today, when I look at the times, I'm flabbergasted at what I was able to do on that day.
So good. So you did a 5:30.22, and I love that you had this top secret goal that you didn't tell anyone about. So were you doing like the calculations through the race to go, I'm going to make it, I'm not going to make it, or you just kind of didn't think about it at all?
Oh, no, I think about it every second of the way. So I'm such a sneaky planner that I also, in the past 4 years, when I finally decided like I want to do triathlon, I want to do it well, I want to get better, I haven't gone into a single race without riding the course at least once before race day. And then I will sit down and I will analyze my ride. I will go back and look at people that did it last year and say, okay, the people that finished in the top 5, here's what they had to bike. Can I do that? What do I need to do? These past year, I've learned a lot about visualizing. So I do a lot of visualization of how the ride will go, how the run will go. But I would say 30 miles into the ride, when it started downpouring, I knew that I was going to choose safety over speed.
Yeah.
And so by about mile 40, I didn't even think 5:30 was possible anymore, but I did think, because I had such a good start to the day, that 5:45 was possible. So in my head, that was my goal. The interesting thing about this course, I guess, also compared to others, is almost every Ironman race I've done, on the bike course, there's at least 2 clocks somewhere. There were none. On the run course, there are clocks places. There were none. And so the only place there were clocks was the finish line and the start. And so I don't think I actually looked at my time or looked at the actual time until I was about 6 miles into the run. And I flipped my watch to the normal time of the day. And I knew when I got in the water, it was 1 minute after race start because I'm, a very fast swimmer. And so I don't have to worry about any of the riffraff. And so I looked at my watch and I realized if I kept going at the pace I was going, that I was not only going to break 5:40, that I had a real shot at 5:30. And it was a cloudy, overcast, rainy day. And for the run, at least, like, that's amazing. And so then in my head, I started doing all the math. And I was like, okay, how fast do I have to go? Where do I have to get to if I do this by here? And it was a really hilly course. And there was one hill that was 7% grade.
Oh, God.
At mile 7, you had to do it at mile 3 and then at mile 7. And at mile 7, I just walked up it. And I was like, you know what? It'll be what it'll be. And as I was coming back in, it's the last 2 miles that you get out of the loop you're doing and downhill all the way back into the finish chute. And I looked and I just started running. I started running faster and started running faster. And I just said, like, I will do what I have to do. I will leave it all out there. And I'm either going to hit 5:30 or I'm going to not, but I'm going to give it everything I've got. And it was the most amazing feeling And then about 5 minutes later, it was, oh God, I might be able to qualify for Worlds, but I don't know. And for the next 2 hours, it was just pure anxiety and jitters, wondering if I was going to do it. Because for me, Worlds was like a in the future, long in the future kind of goal. Didn't think it was doable yet. But New Zealand is always a race I've wanted to do. 70.3 has been on my bucket list since I started doing triathlon. So to be able to get my best time I ever thought I could do, to be able to go to New Zealand and to be able to have it be Worlds, like I am just on cloud nine. And for me, all of that, like to be super clear, I have to say thank you to you. I need to say thank you to everybody at TriDot, because for me, it was finding the right training plan. And then even after that, most people don't know this about me, but the last 2 years I've been struggling a lot with iron absorption issues, anemia, constantly tired. So even though I was training, I couldn't figure out how to have the energy to keep going. And I actually thought I wasn't going to do triathlon anymore. And then I heard about you. I heard about somebody else that you helped through an energy deficit. So I leaned in and I said, if there's some place I'm going to invest and figure this out, it's going to be with you. And you have, I'm getting emotional, but like you've changed the game for me.
Oh, love, big love. Thank you.
I got a 20-minute PR and I did it feeling strong, feeling good. It's the first time I've done a race where I haven't had gut upset. Your course, it's for real. And half of it is what we learn, but the other half of it is you and you being able to help each of us figure out what we need for ourselves. And I think the thing for me that I was most curious about, but also most skeptical about, is how do you take a course with multiple people and not have it be cookie cutter or so generic that maybe the things that aren't working for me or the things I'm struggling with, we're not going to be able to work through, but we did. And I did it with you. I did it with the group. I learned so much from like our amazing cohort, from your classes, and from all of the stuff you've had me practice and implement and practice again and change. My coffee habit. I now wait a full hour after I eat and I'm okay, versus it having to be like that first thing in the morning. I'm going to lose my mind if I don't have it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Mean well, but sorry.
So yeah, you've been a game changer for me, and thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're going to make me cry. Not allowed to cry on my own podcast. So can we dive into some of that stuff? Because I remember when you first came through the program, you started in July 2023. So you've just finished a couple of months ago. And yeah, you were struggling. Like you had no energy, your iron levels were through the floor, and yeah, you had no idea how to fix it. So what are some of the things that you were struggling with before you started? And then what sort of things did you work through over the last 12 months to get to where you are today?
Yeah, that's a great question. So before I started, I honestly, and I'm sure a lot of people will totally resonate with this, I was like, I'm a healthy eater. I eat some sugar, I eat some snacks, but I'm a very healthy eater. I'm a very active person. I travel everywhere. I'm always on the go. I'm out hiking. I'm running my dog. I'm training for triathlon. Like, I mean, most people, and it's funny because until I took your class, most people would say, well, yeah, Laura, with everything you do, of course you need 2 naps a day. Of course you're always tired. Of course you're running on zero. Like, you never stop. And now here I am almost a year later, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's not how this has to be. And I can immediately tell when the steps I'm taking, the things I'm doing get out of sync, because my energy starts to like decline, or I need more coffee, or I want to nap.
I hate that as triathletes, we kind of wear that on our shoulder a bit. It's just like, well, you're meant to feel tired. You're meant to feel fatigued. You're meant to be like needing a sleep in the afternoon. And it's like, no, you don't. You shouldn't feel like that every day. And it's not until you feel more energized. I always call it supercharged, because that's honestly how you feel when you get your nutrition right. You should be able to feel supercharged on a daily basis and do all the things that you want to do, and not be like, okay, well, I'm a triathlete, so this is just how it's meant to be. There's another way, promise.
Yeah, there is. And it's your course. So let me back all the way up to where I was before I started your class, and then all the things that I've learned and changed in the past year. Because there's a lot of information out there. And I think the thing that most people never realize is triathlon is so different that you can't just listen to the stuff out there about doing intermittent fasting or doing stuff the way bodybuilders do stuff or doing keto or any of that, because it doesn't work with our bodies and what we need. But where I was when I found you was a year into having to have iron infusions every 3 months, taking 2 to 3 naps a day during work days, like having to exit meetings, take a 20-minute power nap, get back on, get through as much of my day as I could, and then sleeping like a rock all night, getting up. If I did a workout, I'd need a nap immediately after. Now, one of the biggest things I learned is you're supposed to fuel within so much time of finishing a workout, and I was not doing that.
You were sleeping.
Yeah. I would come home, I would shower, and I would sleep. And then I would worry about eating or going about my day or whatever else it was. And I lost so much time sleeping, that it is amazing how much more I fit in a day now. And let's be clear, I fit more stuff in a day because I definitely don't stop moving. But when I found you, it took 2 months where I came through after one of our first classes. I was a little nervous about how much time all the homework, the prep, the learning, the practicing would take. I mean, it was a little much because you're trying to fit something new in. But then as we got rolling, it's like, oh yeah, you just like fit this one thing into your schedule and you keep on going. It only took like the first 2 classes before with each of us that you were able to say, okay, this is your situation right now. Go try this, go do this, take this one little step. And it was bite-sized pieces of information, bite-sized pieces of adaptation, of trying, that within 6 weeks, I was drinking, I think I told you one of my first classes, I was drinking over 2 pots of coffee a day. I'm now down to 1 cup of like half caffeinated coffee, and that gets me through the whole day. And I know you feel it, decaf goes in the garbage, but like, it is mind-blowing for me how much I've been able to reduce the amount of caffeine I take and increase the amount of energy I have by changing just little things about my diet. Because I am fairly healthy. I do still eat a lot of the same things. I don't crave sugar as much anymore because I'm not dead tired. So that probably helped a lot of stuff too. So yeah, so that's where I started. About 6 weeks in, I started to have more energy. Since starting your class, I actually thought about this today because I go back to my doctor on Monday. I will not have had an iron infusion in a year. Yes. So since starting your class, I have not needed a single iron infusion. And to me, that like speaks worlds of how much it really is that if you do your nutrition right, that you can fix the things going wrong in your body. And so you don't need medicine, like some medicines, some prescriptions, so like having to do an infusion, it's all a Band-Aid to an underlying problem. And this for me was eye-opening about how much nutrition and doing it right in the right way for you and your body. It's just night and day. It's night and day about what it can do.
Yeah, I hope everyone can feel that at some point in their life, because we do Band-Aid stuff with, iron infusions, and I'm very much about like setting you up long term. Like, yes, it's a 9-month program and it is work to get there. Like you said, like it's a little bit of time. It's an hour or 2 each week, but I want the effects to last forever. Like you spend the time and you do the work once, and then I want you to be like healthy and performing to the best of your ability forevermore. It's a one-time thing. Like actually spend the time to work on yourself to set yourself up forever.
Yeah. And then not only did that change for me, this is the best I've felt through a race ever. I shared with you and our cohort that when I did my Ironman, I got super bad gut upset. I got super bad acid reflux in the middle of the race. I still had a little bit of that. And I want to be clear, everyone has their own things, and you're right. And like there are things you need to do. In transition too, I literally chewed 3 Tums and started on my run. But I've realized as much as I've been able to elongate before I start getting the pain in my chest where all the like buildup is, it's still a little bit there, but heck, I learned through thanks to your constant reminder to us of practice, 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 right? Try new things when you're practicing, not in a race, that bananas weren't working for me, right? So many people are like, oh, you want to eat on the bike. And as you even say, like your bike is like your mobile food cart because that's your one place where like you can eat salads. And for me, it turns out
You can't eat salads.
No salads, not salads.
Solids.
Yes,
Salads. It's the accent. Gotcha.
Oh my gosh. I would love if I were eating a salad. Don't eat a salad at all on a race. Just don't do it.
No. We'll subtitle the American accent. No salads on the bike, but salads. You can have salads.
But it is your mobile buffet. But for me, I couldn't drink. So I tried all different kinds of liquid nutrition, from Morton to Tailwind to, I can't even remember the other one. There was another one, but anytime I would drink something, it got really bad. And so I said, okay, I will only drink water. I have to figure out if I eat or do something else. But so then I was like, oh, we'll try real food, right? Bananas, Cliff Bars. Nope. Couldn't go more than 2 hours. I'm like, okay, well, that's out. What do I do? And it was really, really interesting to see that the thing that worked for me was actually opposite of what I thought it was. So this race season, I discovered precision fuel and hydration. And I thought on the bike, I would eat the chews, and on the run, I would have more of they have liquidy gooey formula.
The gel.
Yeah, the gel flow. And it turns out I do the opposite. So the gel flow worked best for me on the bike. It actually flew off my bike at mile 54. And I was like, well, there goes my nutrition, but I'll pick up my other nutrition in T2. And then I did the chews on my run, and they're very the taste of just sugar and nothing else to it. Now, I used to do Cliff Blocks. I can't even do those. That taste is now so strong. And I've learned that my body doesn't love real food when I'm running. It needs that perfect 2-to-1 ratio of glucose to fructose. And it's been great. I had no gut upset. I had a little bit of tightness in my chest the last 30 minutes, but it is by far the best my body has ever felt during a race. And so that's also testament to everybody's different, and different things work for different people. And so you really got to try things out if you want to know.
Yeah, and it does take time. That's only going to get better over time too, I would think. This is the first race where you've had your nutrition all dialed in at the end of our program. And then from here on in, you know how to tweak it and adjust it and evolve it over time. And I would suggest that those symptoms go away altogether with some, gut training and really dialing in your products.
Yeah. Oh, and gut training. That is another thing that I learned from you, that I've had so many people, right? Once again, what you hear from other people or on the internet, or all the things that you learn or consume or we hear and we believe. Everybody used to tell me, well, no, if you get gut upset, it's because you're running too fast, or you shouldn't be doing that distance. Your body wasn't built for that. But it is amazing how you constantly reminded us, you can teach your gut to do almost anything if you give it enough time. And that 100% is true too. I would have never thought that I could get through a race without an upset stomach. And it was great.
Yeah, amazing.
So now I'm like, oh, it's only going to get better. No more upset stomachs for me.
Yeah, it is going to get better. Every race from here on in, you'll find something that we can adjust and tweak and do more gut training and training heading in, and it's all just going to become easier over time. I'm interrupting my own episode to let you know that we're on the countdown to open the Triathlon Nutrition Academy doors on July the 6th. So if you're interested, make sure you've got your name on our July waitlist at dietitianapproved.com/academy. if you're ready to level up your nutrition with me. Now, as part of Open Week, you're invited to join me at Fuel School. It's a 3-day live online nutrition training week designed to give you the nutritional edge and lay the foundation of your day-to-day fueling and race nutrition. It's on between the 10th to the 12th of July at 9:30 a.m. Brisbane time or Australian Eastern Standard Time each day. Now that's 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 6:30 p.m. Central Time and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time a day before, so the 9th to the 11th of July. Whether you're a seasoned triathlete or just starting your journey, this event is your opportunity to learn from me, an advanced sports dietitian and triathlon nutrition specialist, to help transform your approach to nutrition. Register, it's $7 at fuel.school. I'll see you there. So what are you going to do for Worlds in New Zealand? Are you going to stick with the same race nutrition plan, or is there anything you're going to change?
Oh, I'll constantly tweak it. I would say my biggest opportunities are probably with the carb loading going into the race. Also, yet another thing that we learn, right, is everyone thinks carb loading is eating this massive bowl of pasta the day before the race and like then you're good to go. And then your stomach's like distended and you're like, it's not wonderful. Figuring out how to carb load and then practicing that throughout my season, like the prep for this season, that's been interesting. But even the carb loading for this, going into the race, I was craving a hamburger. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish my race. I have to fly across the country for work. And we had to order lunch. And I was like, I want a hamburger. I tell you, after carb loading for this race and like eating no veggies for the 2 days before, only because like my stomach doesn't love me, I got to work and I was like, can I change my order? I just want a really big salad. I just want a salad. And everybody laughed at me. But the carb loading that I did this time worked perfect for me. Maybe even a little too good. I didn't like some of the things that your body should do, like didn't love me until after the race. And so I was like, okay, maybe a few too many carbs for me. And but I feel like the difference too will be this race was an hour from home. And so I was able to do everything from prep all my meals at home to eat specifically what I wanted to the day before, have my morning breakfast, take it with me, right? I put everything in the car and I took it with me. In New Zealand, I'm going to be out there at least a week, if not more, before my race. And so I want to play with, okay, how would I adjust things with what I have when I'm there and with the type of place I'm staying at when I'm there. And then also keep playing with it to see if there are other combinations or things I can do with food that maybe just tweak it, give me a little more energy and a little more oomph. The other big thing I want to keep playing with is my fueling for my ride and my run. I think I still have a ton of room to optimize there and I'm just getting started. And so it will also be a hot race. And so I want to try to figure that out because it'll be cold here in the United States, but it'll be hot over there. So right now, while we're in peak heat here in the US, I'm like playing with all my things so that I can get as much learning as I can so that I'm ready for that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You could also just come to Australia a month early, hang out with me, do some heat adaptation in Australia before you go to New Zealand.
I mean, I could. The biggest fear, I was like, oh, I'm in, done. But I just don't know how I would work.
You can work from here. We have internet down under in Australia, as long as you bring Scout, your dog, with you.
Oh, he would be so happy. He would be so happy.
He's the cutest. Oh. So I didn't know that you haven't had an iron infusion for a year, which is amazing. And to go from having them every 3 months to then having a year of no iron infusion. Have you checked your iron levels recently or are you doing that on Monday with your doctor?
That's Friday morning, and then I meet with my doctor to go over all the numbers on Monday. So I'll let you know.
Yeah, please.
But I definitely have had great energy, and so I feel like everything will still be in a good place. But yeah, I think that's why I get so emotional when I talk about your class too, because it was such a hard time for me, and it is very hard for me to accept that like I can't just do everything. That's how I approach life.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I should be fine. I should be able to do anything.
Yeah, I resonate with that deeply. I always bite off more than I can chew and then just chew really bloody hard.
Yeah. And then to have medical people tell you, nope, this just happens and you're going to deal with it for the rest of your life, it hurts.
Yeah, I hate that.
And so to think back, like as I was thinking about all my nutrition for the last year and things that have changed for me, it's you and your course. And yeah, when you fuel yourself right, anything is possible. Like the energy, the things you can do, the things you can achieve, it's out of this world.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So good. Well, 20-minute PB is pretty good going across the 70.3 distance. I look forward to seeing how you go in New Zealand. And, you know, there is a spare room if you ever want to come early and do some heat adaptation here. You're welcome, as long as you bring Scout.
Yeah, he'll come.
The last question I want to ask you then is, like you mentioned it before, like your hesitation around working on your nutrition. What were the hurdles that you overcome to go, all right, I'm actually going to do this now? Like, what were you thinking in that time? Like, when you're like, all right, do I commit the time, the money to do this? What are the things that were your hesitations in the back of your mind to then go and commit to working on nutrition for, 9, 12 months?
So the initial hesitation was, I've been doing races, athletics, all that kind of stuff for years. And I've had coaches recommend everything from keto diets to high protein to carb loading, all the things, right? Nothing ever really changed anything for me except for when I ate healthy and I ate less junk food. So when I turned 30, so I'm now in my 40s, when I turned 30, I started racing thanks to my best friend who had just had her second child. And she's like, let's run. I was like, that's dumb. Like, that's so dumb. Like, who does that? And then we went from there to a year later, my little brother, who's only 2 years younger than me, said, well, if you're now running, why wouldn't you do a triathlon? You've been swimming your whole life. Everyone knows how to ride a bike and you clearly can run. So like, just go do it. And so him and I did a sprint together. And then I was like, oh, I could do a half Ironman. Like I said, I'm always all in, right? Like
all or none.
Do a sprint. And then my next step was half Ironman. And so doing all those things, doing races for 10 years and never really see anything have a difference and always have gut upset and feel like this is just how things are supposed to be. I think the final straw for me was this past year when I had my hematologist, and I love my hematologist. He's smart. He's great. I trust what he says until he told me this is just how it's gonna be for me. And I refuse to accept that. I refuse to believe that age means you have to start taking medications, or age means you now have this chronic problem that can't be fixed. And so at around that same time, I want to say it was a week later, I just happened to be listening to a TriDot podcast that you were on, and you mentioned somebody that had gone through something similar to me, low energy, went through your nutrition class. And then I went and I found that podcast of yours and listened. That for me is what sold it. I was like, oh my God, if somebody else has had low energy and says like, I can now go ride 50 miles and I come home and then I go mow the lawn or build a house or do whatever, sign me up, because there's got to be something other than being hooked up to an IV every 3 months just so that I can have energy to sustain me for 3 more months until I go through it again. And at this time, like a year ago, I also didn't want to have to give up on triathlon. And I'd been out of racing for a year. I'd barely been training and I hated it. I hated that I wasn't doing the things that I love. And so I leaned in. And I would say for anybody doing triathlon, this is a very different sport than everything else out there, than CrossFit, than power building, than marathon running, half marathons, than endurance biking. It is an endurance sport, but it is very different. And your class teaches us the skills we need to figure out how to be the healthiest, fastest, best version of ourselves we can be. Because I don't know a single person that has gone through that hasn't seen gains in speed, because we also now have gains in energy and the way we're eating.
We're going to dub you the Energizer Bunny from here on in, I think, because you literally don't sit still.
I don't.
Like, you still do CrossFit type training as well as triathlon, and you go hiking all weekend. Like, you do not sit still. And I cannot believe that you survived life before, like with 3 naps a day, 2 pots of coffee and heaps of sugar just to survive. Like, that is just crazy. So thank you for like sharing your journey with us. Deep love. I love that, we've revolutionized your entire life just with a little nutrition program, right?
You have. And I wouldn't call it a little nutrition program. It's like the secret. It is the secret sauce. So anybody that loves, this is a US thing, but In-N-Out burgers, or I swear every burger today has some secret sauce on it. Yeah. Your class is like the secret sauce on the burger. It takes it to the next level and it makes it so great. So yes, yeah. Everybody should take your class. Everybody.
Oh, thank you. I didn't pay her to say that.
Nope, you didn't. If I do something and I believe in it, I tell everybody. And it's interesting because even at the race, prior to the race, so I told like 5 people about the Nutrition Academy. and about TriDot. And it was so funny. Mike was with me and he was just like, you're telling everybody about all of this stuff. He was like, you need to be paid by all these companies. And I was like, no, like if I believe in something, I will tell everybody about it. Because if it could change something for me, it could change something for you. But if I don't speak about it, it means I didn't believe in it. Because I'm willing to try almost anything, but I only stick with the things that work for me. That's why I still do CrossFit when everybody tells me not to, because I love my people. And it's another way for me to, like, I don't do CrossFit the way CrossFitters do CrossFit. I do CrossFit and I strength train, and then I get to work out with like some of my best friends. But yeah, then I come home and I run my dog for 2.5 miles or hike with him. And then I get on a bike or I go swim or go for a run. And then somewhere in between I work and I sleep. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I still manage to like meal prep and eat well.
Yeah. See, if you can do it, anyone can do it.
That's right.
I can't believe you survived your life like that with no energy before. But anyway, I'm glad that you fixed, and it is only the beginning of your journey, right? Like you can still change so many things and tweak and evolve things so that you are feeling completely alive and energized through all of it with no negative symptoms in a little bit of time. So good.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I was really excited to talk to you about your race at Western Massachusetts because I haven't talked to you yet. And I was like, yeah, go Laura. And
Thanks.
I look forward to seeing how you go in New Zealand later in the year.
Me too. Maybe I can go sub 5:30. We'll see.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone your super secret goal, right?
You can't put it out into the universe because what if then it doesn't happen?
That's okay.
So, yeah.
We reassess and we try again.
Very true. Very true.
Oh, thank you, legend. It's good to talk to you again. And yeah, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you.